Hi, Libra. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for September of 2022. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mijas in San Francisco, California.
Well, Libra, if this is your sun sign, then your birthday is coming up quickly. You're already in your yearly mop-up period as this month begins. That's the 30 days before your birthday, and it's the very best time in which to schedule your annual birthday reading because the things of the old year are already starting to fade out, and you can already feel and recognize the themes of the new year beginning to surge in. If you want that birthday reading, you'll find a link for that in the YouTube description below or in any text that comes with this video. Well, Libra, I want to begin with a little check-in with Juno Retrograde, who's been doing her process since July. She has been moving backwards along your 6th house, bringing you into a relationship retrospection period in the arena of work. So you may have been checking your relationships with clients or coworkers in order to ask yourself this really deep question. How does this relationship, this colleague, fit in with my spiritual value system? And if you have been engaged in this process, then an epiphany day is coming. I like to call it Commitment Clarity Day, and it's happening on September 7. And it happens right here when Juno comes opposite the sun. And it's a time when insights abound about the retrospective process that you've been involved in during this retrograde period of Juno. And it's going to help you get through the rest of Juno retrograde, which is going to last until late October. And we'll say more about that in next month's video. But if you do want to find out more about it now, check the, on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, check the playlist for the year of 2022, and you'll find the Juno video there. Julia, what's up with Mercury, Venus, and Mars for the Libras of the world?
Well, hey there, Libra. Mercury has a lot of activity this month because he's in one house, he dips into another, and all the while he's also going retrograde. So I'll break it down piece by piece. Mercury starts the month in your 1st house, and this is the house of self. And anytime a planet's in the 1st house, we tend to really embody and project that planet out to other people. And since Mercury is the planet of communication, it rules your intellect. You know, you'll have a very, with Mercury in the 1st house, it can be a time where you can really impress people with your mind, and you can be extra articulate too, you know, using your words the right way. Now, on September 10th, Mercury goes retrograde in this house, and that's when the misunderstandings are going to happen. So with Mercury retrograde in the 1st, you know, you could feel really misunderstood, personally misunderstood by other people, especially if you're trying to be clear and, you know, use the best words to explain something. You know, other people are just not quite getting it, not quite getting the message right. Now, on September 22nd, this is a very important day to note because Mercury will be exactly conjoined the sun. And these periods where Mercury is conjoined the sun, they tend to sort of bookend the Mercury retrograde cycle, and they can be times of greater clarity and insights and epiphanies into wherever Mercury is in your chart. So this is the lesser epiphany day. That means that Mercury is retrograding backwards as it conjoins the sun. Greater epiphany day is when Mercury is going direct, and that'll come later on. But on September 22nd, 2nd, with this conjunction between Mercury and the Sun in your first house, this can be a time of insights, of sort of revelations into how you project yourself out in the world, because this is the house of self. And the first house has a lot to do with your physical body as well. So maybe there's some insights you're also going to be having into that. I like to think of the first house as the house of health, where the 6th house is more the house of illness. If there's a bit of a distinction there. So, your actual physical body, you might be making some revelations about that. Now, on September 23rd, this retrograding Mercury is going to dip back into your 12th house. And the 12th house, this is a house of isolation. This is a house of mysticism. It's a house of self-sabotage. So with Mercury going retrograde in the 12th, this could be a time period where you are reviewing your own isolation. Maybe you're making some connections with, wow, I'm really not getting enough time on my own. I've got too many roommates. I'm spending way too much time with my partner. Or maybe what you're thinking of is, I'm spending too much time on my own and I really need to go out there and connect with more people. But there could be some review and redoing in terms of, you being solitary in your life. And this Mercury retrograde period is going to finish up in October 2nd. And we'll let you know when that happens in our next month's videos as well. So then I also want to mention some things about Venus. On September 4th, Venus enters your 12th house. And again, the 12th house is a house of isolation. It's a house of mysticism. It's a house of charity. And Venus is a relationship planet. So when Venus goes in the 12th house, you actually really might enjoy spending more time on your own. Going back on that Mercury retrograde in the 12th, you might be thinking, I do need more of this actually, because Venus is also going to be in there. And if you are in a relationship, this could be a time where you want to just sort of be hidden away with your partner. You don't want to go out and paint the town red, but just kind of maybe spend more time indoors or go camping together, but in a place where you guys aren't seen very much. And since Venus is a social planet, there might be somebody in your life who's going through a little bit of a crisis, maybe a friend, maybe your partner. And Venus in the 12th means that you will be there to serve them in some way, to help them out, to be a good support too. And then on September 30th, Venus is going to enter your first house. You're going to love to hear about that transit, and we're really going to go into it into a lot of depth in our next month's video. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then finally, Mars. Mars is slowing down this month in the sign of Gemini, which corresponds with your 9th house. So Mars will be going retrograde next month. And this retrograde cycle is going to be kind of a long one. It's going to be in your 9th house for a number of months. But before we get there, Mars in the 9th house is a house of beliefs. It's a house of education. It's a house of travel. So with Mars in the 9th, this can be a time where you're feeling like you just kind of want to go out and have some adventure, expand your horizons, go on a trip. Wherever we have Mars is where we tend to be very active. And the 9th house is a very worldly place. This isn't like necessarily a homebody transit. So with Mars in the 9th house, this can also be a time when you're feeling very energized and communicating your beliefs to other people. Maybe they're political beliefs, maybe they are family beliefs or spiritual beliefs. But Mars is a little feisty, so it's also possible you might run into disagreements over your beliefs with Mars in the 9th. And if you do have some travel planned up, there might be some frustrations along the way. There might be some irritations that happen when you travel, like all those airlines canceling everything nowadays. That could very well happen with Mars in the 9th. Yeah. And Mars in the 9th too, if you are in school, you could feel very driven to sort of learn more. Education, higher education is another way of expanding our boundaries in life. Though it could also be a time of not seeing eye to eye with your teachers too.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to tell you about the 2 moons this month and also the change of season, beginning with the full moon in Pisces that's happening on the 10th. This is kind of a better view of it. I guess I'll step this by a couple of hours. There, that's a really good view of it. So there's the moon hanging out with Juno opposite to the sun. And this moon we're calling reimagine relationships, but face pragmatic facts. And the reason we're calling it that is because the moon is really, this particular full moon is really tied into Juno's relationship retrospection process. And so that balancing act that usually characterizes the full moon is going to take place across the axis of Pisces, the dreamer, and Virgo, the pragmatist. And so as you are undergoing this relationship retrospection and feeling into it, intuiting into it, and doing your spiritual litmus tests, this moon is going to bring, I think, some powerful perspective and a sense of balance as you, bring pragmatic realism into the equation. So then further along the month, which started with the sun in Virgo in your 12th house, and I talked about that last month the way I do. Right here on the 23rd, the sun moves ahead into the first house and crosses over Mercury. As it does that, Mercury backs up earlier than the sun in Libra, and they both continue on their journey. So this is that Epiphany day that Julia spoke of, and the sun moves into your first house, and it's your sign, and it's your birthday month beginning. That's really what this signifies. So when the season of Libra begins, it's time to come out of that period of contemplation that goes on in the 30 days before your birthday, and it's time to start thinking about, how do I use my attention to forward what I really want? How do I take action? How do I begin my new year with a bang? So let's see, is there anything else I want to say about this? I think it's really great to take the attention that comes your way in your birthday month. And you have permission from me and the universe to do that. And I think that you should. Put your own attention on yourself, allow other people to put their attention on you, and flourish in this month of celebrating who you are. Now, a little bit later, the sun connects with the moon in a conjunction, and this is what a new moon is, and it happens right here in your first house. This one we call calculated diplomacy versus boundless enthusiasm, because the sun and the moon meet up directly opposite to Jupiter. Jupiter occupies your 7th house, which does suggest that this year you may be having a relationship luck year, a great thing to know about if that's true. And you can find that out in a reading where we can use your actual specific house cusps to tell exactly when Jupiter is bringing that to you and how long it lasts. But for now, what I want to say is that this new moon is planting seeds of diplomacy, kindness, and fairness. And you may feel like this is very personal and you want to plant those seeds in your very self and through your very actions. But they are going to be balanced by the enthusiasm that you may be feeling in your relationship arena, perhaps by enthusiasm coming from that golden retriever of a person who just bounced up to you and said, hey, you're cute. Maybe I'd like to date you. That could easily happen. But fielding the enthusiasm and working it into your plans in a good way is really what is needed here. Well, that's what we have for you today, Libra. Hope you enjoyed that. You will always find your horoscope on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the horoscopes tab. And if you want that reading, you can find it in the readings tab. And if you're interested to know more about this month's moons or Juno retrograde, check out our YouTube channel and see the playlists for September news and also the year of 2022. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.